Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend.
How about you?
Yeah, very busy. A lot of chores, and little Louie celebrated 1 year.
Oh, that's exciting.
So a little party for him.
Don't kill me. I put my lights up outside.
Your Christmas lights.
I haven't turned them on, though, yet.
I chopped down my hostas on yesterday.
Yeah, well, we're both getting ready for winter, and it feels like it today, doesn't it?
You can't turn them on Thanksgiving.
You have my word.
We're going to set up a camera and keep an eye on it.
Okay.
All right. It certainly feels like you should be turning them on. We'll get to the weather in a minute. But first, the Baraboo School District is investigating after a photo of boys giving what appears to be a Nazi salute goes viral.
Deadly wildfires continue to burn in California. We'll have an update on the conditions out west.
Plus, helping inmates return to life outside of prison. The new job center providing opportunities to those serving time.
Let's take a look outside today. Boy, it was blustery and chilly today.
Yeah, you're probably smart to get the lights up before it really gets cold.
Well, that's what I was thinking, right.
I tell you, this is middle of December weather. These geese are hanging around, though. They don't seem to, well, there's plenty to eat. That's why they're not going anywhere.
I love that sound, don't you?
It is quite cold. Dana's in the backyard. I think we missed a month somewhere here.
We really skipped right on ahead. Mother Nature's running a fast pace right now. I don't know if you could see, but we do have a few snowflakes flurrying around for us. That's kind of been the picture for much of the day. Just a few little isolated snowflakes. Looking at our Doppler track, you can see much of central Wisconsin seeing some snow, nothing accumulating or major. But we definitely have seen just a few snowflakes for us, and we'll continue to do so for just the next few hours. Right now, it is mostly cloudy outside, and it will stay that way overnight. A little dreary and a little chilly, as temperatures are currently in the mid-20s with a little wind chill factored in. Feels like the upper teens right now, about 25 for us in Madison, 28 in Janesville. With that breeze coming in from the northwest currently at about 10 miles an hour in Madison. Yeah, it feels a little cold outside. Over the next 12 hours, our temps just dropping from where we're at right now. We will be in the teens again overnight, and for a very chilly start to Tuesday. Our wind speeds thankfully won't pick up too much. We don't need our wind chills to drop anymore. Sunshine for tomorrow, a little more sun than is. Highs will yet again be in the 20s, so this cold weather not going anywhere anytime soon. But we'll break that down just a little more as we get into your full forecast in just a few minutes. Right now, looking at traffic, some good news on the roadways. This is 12 and 18 right at Park Street. Things seem to be cruising along fairly smoothly along the belt line, actually picking up quite a bit of green, bouncing over near Cottage Grove. Things are looking okay along Cottage Grove Road as well as Milwaukee Street right now. Down near Fitchburg and Oregon, not seeing any delays either. Near Verona, a little bit of a backup just on 151 heading into downtown, but nothing too bad. And then part of McKee Road closed right now due to construction. But again, on the belt line, seeing a lot of green. No accidents or major delays. All the speeds seem to be cruising along just fine. John Olin University Avenue, only 2 minutes. And then PD to the Beltline, about 3 minutes for you, but still a lot of green. We'll keep a close eye on traffic. Have another update on that in just a few minutes. Shouldn't need the shades if you're getting ready to head home. And again, no windshield wiper blades, just a few snowflakes for us right now.
Well, the sun's almost setting, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Right around the corner. Just a few minutes.
Just some pretty snow outside.
Yeah, all right. Nice. We'll see you in a few minutes, Dana. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, the Baraboo High School community is facing backlash today from a picture that was posted on Twitter.
It appears to show most of the boys in the class of 2019 making a Nazi salute. It was tweeted out with the hashtag Baraboo Proud. Amanda Quintana is in the news center with the backfire this picture has caused. Amanda?
Yes, well, the picture was actually taken last spring during junior prom, but it hasn't been talked about until now because a Twitter account known for satirical content about Baraboo posted it. The Welcome to Baraboo Twitter used the hashtag Baraboo Proud, saying, quote, "We even got the black kid to throw it up." This immediately caught the attention of many. The anonymous account is run by a couple seniors. It was made by a Baraboo High School student in 2013 and has been passed down to seniors each year since then. One of the past account managers says it was not meant for things like this.
It was supposed to be just like spread humor and like definitely not hate. Like most of it was just satirical stuff about Baraboo. My first thought was like I was shocked that like that's coming from my hometown, and then embarrassed that it was coming from my hometown.
That one tweet is bringing a lot of negative attention to the school. The Baraboo School District sent a letter to parents today saying, in part, if the gesture is what it appears to be, the district will pursue any and all appropriate actions, including legal, to address the issue. Although the tweet brought the picture to everyone's attention today, it has been on the photographer's website since prom last spring, but that was deleted today. At 5 o'clock, we will hear from a teen who just graduated from Baraboo High School who says what's most shocking is that hundreds of parents were there during those pictures, but she isn't quite surprised by this act of racism.
All right, Amanda Quintana reporting live from the newsroom. Thank you.
Amanda, thank you. Some members of the Baraboo community are coming together tonight to promote a message of love, peace, and acceptance. This is a live look at their efforts. The group just took a photo at the same location where the prom photo was taken, only this time they held up signs and symbols promoting love. You will hear from the organizers of this event coming up tonight on News 3 at 5.
Deadly wildfires in California continue to burn. 31 people have been killed and dozens are still missing. At least 3 dozen firefighters have lost their own homes as wildfires wiped out nearly the entire town of Paradise. Several bodies have been found in burned out cars where drivers became stuck in traffic trying to flee. The death toll continues to climb, with desperate friends and family still searching for missing loved ones.
Well, this is my daughter, Sarah Rathburn, and her boyfriend, Harold Doty. They lived at the Villa Monterey in Paradise, California.
Just hits home on the fact that we are still in significant fire weather, and the existing fire is not our only concern.
Entire cities are still under mandatory evacuations, leading to another growing problem: looters. Police arrested several suspects who were impersonating fire officials trying to gain access to fire zones. And the wildfires tearing across California are not sparing the celebrity community of Malibu. Actor Gerard Butler released a video and urged fans to support the Los Angeles Fire Department. A news chopper captured footage of the fire consuming the Malibu estate of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Camille Grammer. Miley Cyrus tweeted that she's devastated over losing her home, but grateful her animals made it out safely. Singers Neil Young and Robin Thicke also lost their homes. A TV news crew found actor Martin Sheen after his son tweeted that his father was missing. The elder Sheen said the Woolsey fire is the worst he's seen in 48 years living in Malibu.
Canada's Prime Minister confirms that his country has heard audio tapes of the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is the first Western leader to acknowledge that his country has listened to Turkish recordings of the killing of Khashoggi. A Turkish newspaper report claims Khashoggi's last words were, "I'm suffocating, take this bag off my head, I'm claustrophobic."
Canada's intelligence agencies have been working very closely on this issue with the Turkish intelligence.
Turkey's president said over the weekend the audio of Khashoggi's murder had been sent to Saudi Arabia and Western allies, including the CIA in the United States. Turkey claims Khashoggi, the Washington Post columnist who was critical of Saudi Arabia's crown prince, was strangled at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last month.
Election day has passed, but 4 of the biggest races have yet to be called. In Florida, officials are recounting more than 8.2 million ballots as they try to determine who really won that state's gubernatorial and Senate races. They have until Thursday to complete the task. The 2 Senate candidates are accusing each other of dishonesty, but in an emergency hearing, a judge told them to turn down their rhetoric.
Senator Nelson is clearly trying to commit fraud to try to win this election.
Rick Scott isn't interested in making sure every lawful vote is counted.
Rick Scott's campaign filed a suit to get oversight of the Broward County recount, claiming the county's election supervisor is not trustworthy. A judge denied that request, saying there is no evidence of wrongdoing. President Trump has suggested the opposite, claiming Democrats are trying to steal the election and tweeting, quote, "Many ballots are missing or forged. An honest vote count is no longer possible. Must go with election night." Scott currently holds a razor-thin lead over incumbent Bill Nelson.
Wisconsin Governor-elect Tony Evers says he wants to reform Wisconsin's overcrowded prison system. Evers has promised to tour the state's troubled Lincoln Hills juvenile prison his first week in office. He also wants to cut the prison population in half, but has not yet released a plan on how to do that. Evers supports stopping parole revocations when a crime hasn't been committed, banning employees from asking job applicants their criminal history, and banning solitary confinement. Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is striking a defiant tone as he faces working with Governor-elect Evers. He was reelected as Speaker today. Vos says he will work with Evers when he can, but, quote, "We are not going to roll over and play dead like they assume we probably should." Republicans will return with a 63-36 majority in the state assembly. A state prison is providing inmates a new way to get a head start on transitioning back into society after release.
And state officials say it can help taxpayers and the economy as well. Our Madeline O'Neill is back from Oak Hill Correctional Institution in Oregon with what details of the new job center. I'll get it out here, Maddie.
Yes,
go ahead.
That's right. Well, the job center will be the first of its kind inside a state prison, giving inmates the chance to connect to employers while they're still serving time. The Wisconsin Departments of Corrections and Workforce Development, along with Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish, celebrated the center's opening today. During a time of low unemployment in the state, they say former inmates can be valuable workers for businesses, and getting prisoners back into the workforce decreases the chance of them ending up back in prison.
Everybody deserves the opportunity and a chance, and that's what this is about. We won't give up on them, and we don't want them to give up on themselves. And that's where the hope part comes in. We provide them with the hope and the opportunity.
Inmates can use the center for career readiness programs, job searches, and making resumes. They can also send out applications and set up interviews for when they're out. Coming up at 6, you'll hear from a current inmate looking forward to his release and preparing for it by using that job center.
What a great idea.
Yeah, isn't it awesome?
Give him a leg up. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Madeline, thank you.
See you at 6. Thank you, Maddie. The man who brought life to some of the world's most iconic superheroes has died. Stan Lee was known as the grandfather of the modern comic book. He created X-Men, the Hulk, Black Panther, and the Amazing Spider-Man. Lee took a job as an assistant at Marvel Comics when he was 16 and eventually became its president. In 1998, Marvel forced Lee out, and he spent years in lawsuits to try to get a share of the profits from movies and TV shows based on his characters. He was born Stanley Lieber, but signed his comic Stan Lee to protect his reputation. Stan Lee was 95 years old.
What a talented man.
End of an era, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, there's more to come at 4. Film critic Will Loper joins us next.
He'll tell us what he thinks of the latest Grinch movie to hit theaters over the weekend. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. Officials at UW-Stevens Point have reduced the number of majors slated for elimination by more than half.
This spring, the school proposed eliminating 13 majors to help deal with a $4 million budget deficit over 2 years. Today, the university announced it's modified the proposal to cut 6 majors, including French, German, and history. This video shows some of the protests that students held over the potential cuts. UW-Stevens Point was able to save the remaining 7 majors due to faculty retirements and resignations. UW system regents will need to sign off on this proposal.
Well, it's official. Santa is coming to town. West and Easttown malls of Madison getting ready to welcome Santa this weekend. Santa will be stationed at the malls from Saturday until Christmas Eve. And Westtown Mall is working with 2 organizations to host Santa Cares, a sensory-friendly event for children and family members with special needs. To find out more about this event and to see when and where Santa will be available, head to channel3000.com.
An iconic Madison pet food store is raising money for a local cat adoption agency. Mad Cat West is matching donations in honor of Morty Mad Cat, the store's beloved pet cat.
I just petted Morty last weekend.
Oh, Morty died over the weekend. I'm sorry to have to tell you that, Mark.
Good heavens.
He passed away over the weekend. He had a good long life, though. He was 17 years old. Isn't that incredible?
It really is.
And the store, he's been a staple at the store since 2002 when he was adopted from a county animal shelter.
He's just sleeping right at the cash register.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Well, it was a brutal day on Wall Street. The slide was led by Apple, which fell 4.5%. The Dow Industrials dropped 602 points, closing at 25,387. The NASDAQ Composite Index fell 206. The S&P 500 gave up 54.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I'm going to steal their Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Autumn decoration, tear 'em down. You can ask Max how to play 'em round. Ayo.
Dad, what are you doing? Okay.
That was a clip from the newest version of The Grinch, now out in theaters.
Should you see it, or are you better off spending time with a seasick crocodile? Here to let us know is our film critic, Will Loper.
Hi, Will.
The holidays are here.
Holidays here? Merry Christmas already, right? Yeah. Well, you can leave the seasick crocodile at home. The Grinch himself may have spiders in his brain and garlic in his soul, but this film is a great retelling of that classic tale we all know about that mean, green Mr. Grinch stealing Christmas. So Benedict Cumberbatch voices the Grinch this time around with a voice strangely high-pitched for such a deep-voiced man. Now, he's got some baggage from the past that causes his dislike of Christmas, so he decides to dress as Santa, take a sleigh, and steal all the decorations and presents of the Whovilles so they have none for Christmas Day. Now, for the sake of the children, the Grinch will often fall off a roof or get hit in the face with something or other, but overall, the physical comedy sequences are well-constructed and funny. For new viewers unfamiliar with the Grinch's story, this is a great way to be introduced. And for the rest of us that know the tale from back to front, may not bring anything new to the table besides the whipped cream snorting yak, but this movie knows the story and tells it well.
Benedict Cumberbatch seems like very good casting for this.
He does, but again, you know, he's voiced Smaug the dragon. He's got this great booming deep voice at times, and then he's talking like Josh Gad in this movie. He's like, going like this, and you're just like, why'd you cast Benedict for that? But I mean, he does.
And that's a challenge for a movie like this because everyone knows the story.
Yes.
And it's going to be compared to other versions of it.
Absolutely. You're going to be comparing it to the 1966 version and then the Jim Carrey version, which I learned from our producer last Friday is apparently a beloved classic. I didn't think Jim Carrey's Grinch was that great, but apparently so for some.
We're different standards.
But this movie, it does it well.
All right, so what's the rating?
Yeah, this one, 3.5 whipped cream snorting yaks out of 5.
That is funny.
That is a funny scene. All right, next week.
We're going back to the Harry Potter universe with Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
All right, more Potter.
More Potter, more
Potter.
magic. Yep.
All right, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Take a look at this. Check out this 3D weather radar. See that pattern that kind of looks like a shock wave? Well, the National Weather Service in Jacksonville, Florida says that's actually a massive flock of birds caught taking off in southeast Georgia. Now, this isn't the first time radars have picked up non-meteorological patterns. We've seen traffic. We've seen mayflies, this one by La Crosse, even bats. But according to the National Weather Service, the recent Georgia bird pattern was particularly vivid.
Very vivid.
That one was just for Dana. That's
I liked it. It was very exciting.
It's hard to believe that that's birds.
It happens all the time that you can see the migration coming in or later in the evening to roost or even early on in the morning. Very common.
It's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
It's
cool.
pretty neat.
All right. Well, it's Monday, November 12th.
Somehow it's already Monday, November 12th. It's National Chicken Soup for the Soul Day. It's good for you.
Yes,
It is.
very good.
And this is good for you. Happy hour day. 4 o'clock, 4 to 7 usually,
Why
right?
not?
Yes.
Celebrate responsibly.
And it is National Pizza with the Works except Anchovies Day. Each kind of pizza will have its own day.
Specific, isn't
Yes,
it?
but we're not sure if the anchovies were involved or not, but hundreds of pizza chefs in Buenos Aires tried to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the most pizzas made in 12 hours. The team pounded, baked, and boxed their way into the record books. When they were done, 400 chefs baked 11,287 pizzas. The previous record holder is Italy with 10,065 pizzas. Using industrial ovens, bakers produced 6 pizzas every minute, and afterwards they were sold with proceeds going to local charities.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Keep the anchovies, or
I don't
what do
know.
you
I'm
think?
not a big anchovies fan.
What do you think, Dana?
No, I'd rather stick to the veggies.
You know, I don't think there's any middle ground with anchovies.
I think, yeah.
You like them or you don't?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I like them. I like them a
In
lot.
this weather, either you like it or you don't.
Either you're wishing it was in December or you're excited it's here. It's very cold outside, and unfortunately it is going to stay cold for us for the next few days. I'll take a closer look at what's ahead right after the break. Unfortunately for our Monday, it was just a little dreary outside today. Looking at our visible cloud check, a very overcast sky for us throughout the state. Didn't get any opportunity for sunshine out there. Actually, just seeing a few little snowflakes swirling around as well. No accumulating snow, just some light flurries. If you step outside, certainly noticing it. Seems a little favored off to the west, also up to the north, of course, seeing those snow flurries. And that's going to continue for the next few hours. Nothing that's going to stop your evening plans, but don't be surprised if you do see a few snowflakes for us outside. Overall, up to the north, we're still at about 2 to 3 inches of snow for the northern edge of the state. Again, we've just seen a trace of snow over the last several hours, but our current snow depth, of course, just going to continue to climb over the next few months. Even over the next several days, nothing's going to go away up to the northern edge of the state as our temps are going to stay below freezing. This colder air shifting in behind a cold front that has slid well to the east, coming through over the weekend, not really bringing a whole lot of precipitation to our area, but up to the north again, they did see a little bit, and right now we're still seeing just a few light snowflakes. We'll stay cold and mellow through much of the week. Very steady warming trend is going to shift our direction by Wednesday and Thursday, though, as our high pressure starts to shift east just a little more. No more precip expected, though, until we get towards Friday, our next weather system. Not even in our Midwest view right now. So overnight, plan on our variably cloudy skies slowly breaking up. Temperatures as we head into Tuesday morning will drop into the teens. A very, very chilly start for our Tuesday morning, so hunters certainly need to bundle up throughout the day on Tuesday. We'll get a little more sunshine in the forecast. It's not going to help us warm up too much, unfortunately. By Wednesday morning, we're back in the teens, and then Wednesday afternoon will be a little milder. Notice our wind direction shifts. That's part of the reason it is going to be a little more mild outside, coming from the south. For the breeze, it'll be, again, 8 to 15 miles per hour, but that direction certainly helps us out quite a bit. For tomorrow, we're still a west-northwest breeze. Our wind speeds will stay in the single digits throughout much of the afternoon. But we are, because of that breeze, going to factor in a bit of a wind chill for us. So tomorrow morning, even though temps will be in the teens, it's going to feel single digits for some areas, a little closer to about 10 degrees, though, in Madison, even by 10:30 throughout the afternoon. Don't plan on those field temps to jump out of the teens for us. The wind speeds will stay fairly calm, thank goodness. Otherwise, it'll feel even cooler later in the evening. It'll feel closer to about 11 degrees for us in Madison. Right now, we're just talking about clouds in the sky, getting a few snowflakes swirling around out there. Not enough, unfortunately, that I can pick up on my cameras right now, but a pretty mellow evening throughout downtown. Temperatures today climbing close to 30 degrees, not even breaking over freezing. We should be in the mid-40s right now. Our average temps slowly dropping as we move through November. But we're not even there. Again, 30. Starting the day off in the mid-20s. It's going to be even cooler for tomorrow morning. Overnight lows fall into the teens with that breeze coming from the north-northwest, again at about 8 to 15 miles per hour. Our evening cloud coverage is going to clear out, becoming partly cloudy by tomorrow morning. Throughout the day on Tuesday, plan on a little more sunshine, but it is going to be quite cold outside. Again, factoring in that wind, it's going to feel even colder. Temperatures will be in the mid-20s for afternoon highs for Tuesday. Throughout the 7-day period, plan on our temps steadily, and I mean slowly, warming up. By Wednesday, we're in the mid-30s, Thursday in the lower 40s, a little closer to average, but we don't stay there long as our next system slides on through. It is going to bring the chance for some snow, maybe even rain showers for us late in the day on Friday and overnight and into Saturday morning. So we cool down heading into the weekend as well. We'll be close to freezing for afternoon highs both Saturday and Sunday. That snow event for us on Friday doesn't look like much accumulation, but the later it gets pushed into night, the more we will be talking about snow rather than just rain. And of course, our Turkey Day forecast right now is looking a little rainy, but the good news, temps will be a little more mild for us by the middle and end of next week. We'll get out of this cool slump that we've been sitting in.
So there won't be any driving issues for Thanksgiving?
At this time, no. Still a little far out, of course, but the trend here right now is that temps will stay warm enough that we won't have any slick conditions, and those rain showers are looking just a little more scattered about.
All right, well, if we can get back to normal, that'd be great.
That'd be fantastic. A little bit warmer before we have to head right into December.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
An elderly California woman is taking the art world by storm. She was born with disabilities, making it hard for her to communicate.
But Helen Ray has learned to express herself through her art. Chris Martinez shares her story.
There's a quiet intensity to the way Helen Ray puts colored pencil to paper. Nearly every day, with unbroken focus, the 80-year-old self-taught artist spends hours at this community arts center creating one piece after another.
This is her language. This is her voice.
Gallery owner Paige Wary fell in love with Helen's drawings at first sight and was shocked when she learned about the woman behind them. Helen was born deaf and with developmental disabilities that left her unable to speak. She didn't discover her love of art until she was in her early 50s and has since created hundreds of drawings, many reflecting her love of fashion.
They're colorful, they're bright, they're beautiful pieces of art, and she deserved a show.
So Paige gave Helen that show at her Los Angeles gallery.
Look at the colors that she chooses.
A solo exhibit at age 77. On opening night, every one of her pieces sold, kicking off an unexpected global career.
And she has since been shown in Paris and in New York, and she's got major collectors buying her work now.
It's work that commands a hefty price.
In your gallery, this will sell for how much?
$3,400.
Each.
Helen's art speaking volumes in a way she never could.
I really do think that those might be her in those pieces. She's putting herself into the fashion, to the haute couture world. This is her voice, and it's really powerful.
Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Isn't that something?
Unbelievable.
Very inspiring. Helen's work has also been displayed in Scotland, Belgium, and Japan.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's a push across the country to serve those who serve.
When we come back, how big companies like Starbucks are helping veterans return to civilian life. We'll have that story when Live at 4 returns.
look at downtown Madison on a Monday late afternoon. Sun beginning to set, lights coming on. Some of the country's largest corporations are honoring veterans and their families by offering them jobs.
CBS News' Laura Podesta explains the special programs are looking to help soldiers return to the workforce.
Kristen Kavanaugh is a former Marine who served in Iraq. Now she's climbing the career ladder at Tesla as head of leadership development. That includes supporting other veterans in the Tesla workforce.
They've worked under stressful conditions. They're used to high operational tempo. That's what we have here at Tesla. And so it just seems like a natural fit.
Under a program to recruit and train veterans, about 800 of Tesla's 10,000 factory workers have served in the military. They're now building their civilian careers.
Not since I left the Marines have I felt the kind of like the passion and the purpose that I feel here at Tesla.
Starbucks is another military-friendly company. They've committed to hiring 25,000 veterans by the year 2025, and they're 3/4 of the way there. With a helping hand from corporate America, the unemployment rate for veterans has edged down to 2.9%. That's nearly a point lower than the overall jobless rate. Walmart used this Veterans Day to announce it will give hiring preference to military spouses. Lucy Opaki works at the Walmart Supercenter in Killeen, Texas.
They're going to make sure that you are taken care of as a spouse and that you don't have to stress through the process when your husband deploys.
The retail giant says it's employed more than 200,000 veterans, bringing troops from the battlefield into the workforce. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Happy Veterans Day, and many schools across the country took time to honor veterans today.
An assembly at a school near Chicago was very special for one student. Colton's dad surprised him this morning. Oh, these stories always make me cry. He's been deployed in the Navy since April. The emotional reunion was caught on camera. Colton was a little shy at first, trying to figure out what's going on, and then he started crying as soon as he saw his dad. Aww.
Special reunion.
Very special.
Well, up next, they are still counting ballots in Arizona and Georgia and Florida as the midterm election lingers on. What did we learn in Wisconsin from the midterms?
The director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, will join us to break down the numbers when Live at 4 continues.
Cloudy in the sky and okay on most of the roads right now. Looking at 12 and Park Street, things rolling along okay east and westbound. One accident that we are keeping an eye on, southbound side of 39 and 90. There is a crash there right by Highway B, as you can see, causing quite a backup along the southbound side of 39 and 90. Everything on the northernbound side seems to be rolling along okay. And that accident isn't blocking any lanes at this time. The Beltline a little slow close to John Nolan Drive, driving at about 32 miles per hour, so not too bad. And then if we look at Mineral Point Road, a little bit of a delay as you get closer to Gammon Road, then also closer to the Beltline. Drive time should be fairly smooth wherever you're heading. A little bit of a delay there from John Nolan to University Avenue, but the average is about 4 minutes, so it's not like too much of a delay for you as you're heading home for your Wednesday. We'll keep a close eye on traffic and weather. We'll have another update on weather. Just a quick second. Mark and Susan.
Hey, Halle Berry! Halle Berry! Hey, I'm single with 15!
Yes, that was LA Rams quarterback Jared Goff calling out Halle Berry as an audible in yesterday's Seahawks-Rams game. Afterwards, Halle Berry tweeted out, "Hold up at Jared Goff 16. What is a Halle Berry?" She did appear in the football-themed movie The Program in 1993, but this could be the new Omaha. Other quarterbacks pick this up. Halle Berry. All right, Election Day has passed, but 4 of the biggest races have yet to be called in Florida, Arizona, and Georgia.
But one of the big winners here at home was the Marquette Law School poll, which accurately predicted the race for governor would go into the wee hours of the morning. The director of the poll, Charles Franklin, is here. We've had you here almost every week, so we had to have you back for a post-election wrap-up.
I'm glad to be here.
So congratulations. It was pretty much spot on.
We were on this time. I'm pleased with that. Close race. We had a tie in the governor's race, and we had the Senate by 11, and that's what Baldwin won by. So we did okay this time.
And we kept talking about how turnout is going to matter, and apparently it did.
It did. Turnout is, at the moment, it looks like 59.53% of voting age people. Now, that's the unofficial count. It actually may go a shade higher when we get the final official tally. But the big story was the huge turnout in Dane County, which is both the fastest growing county and the fastest growing turnout and a growing Democratic margin in the vote here. So Dane made a big difference there, but so did Milwaukee County, which also boosted the Evers vote margin a lot. And then finally, the WOW counties, Waukesha and Ozaukee, at least, not Washington, also gave Walker a little bit less of a share of the vote. He went from 72 in Waukesha down to 66. And so all those things together are what takes to flip the governor's race by just a 1.15 percentage point margin at this point.
Besides the turnout, was there anything that would explain why Governor Walker lost and Governor-elect Evers won?
I think the issues we see in the polling are Walker does seem to still have some damage from running for president. At least Republicans say they still wished he hadn't run. Now, that didn't mean they'd necessarily vote against him, but he didn't have the help of some of his most loyal followers. But also a little bit of a shift in the issue. People ranking health care as their #1 concern and pre-existing conditions. Governor has spent his entire 8 years in office working against the Affordable Care Act, which is what guarantees the protection of pre-existing conditions. So throughout the fall, you saw him trying to find a position on that to say, oh, I too will protect this. So it's a change in the issues on that. Also K-12 education. Governor still did very well with people concerned about jobs and the economy, but it wasn't quite enough to lift him over the top. And Evers ran a strong campaign. Let's not forget that part of it as well.
And all the constitutional offices in Wisconsin went to Democrats. Like the Attorney General, was there some coattail effect with Senator Baldwin and Tony Evers?
It certainly looks like the governor's vote and the Attorney General's vote are very, very close to one another. So that's where maybe the most coattails could work, because the Attorney General candidates are simply less well known than the gubernatorial or Senate candidates. Baldwin, with that very big 11-point win, could exert a coattail effect or maybe bring in some voters. But the way the ballot's structured, you vote for governor before you get to the Senate race, so it's not quite the usual coattail effect, just in terms of the order in which you vote.
And what about the state legislature?
Very little change there, certainly in terms of seats. Republicans pick up one of the Senate seats, the one they lost in June in a special election. So that didn't change much. But the shift in the vote was about 3 points less Republican in the Assembly and in the Senate. It was 3.8 less for Walker, so just a little bit more on his side of the vote. But most of the Republican-held seats, the vast majority of Republican-held seats, are won by over 60% of the vote. So shifting them mostly down, but by 3 to 7 or 8 points as the biggest ones, isn't enough to tip those seats. And that's the fact that we have districts drawn to give very large majorities to the winners in both sides.
And those districts will be redrawn in 2020 and 2021 with a Democratic governor.
That's right. And so as long as we go through the usual redistricting process, there will be quite an interesting interaction between the governor's office and the legislature, potentially throwing the final drawing of the boundaries back to the courts the way they were done in the previous 3 decades.
Now we just have to see if everyone can work together.
Oh, yes, I'm sure that's going to go easily and smoothly with no conflict
do a prediction
whatsoever.
on that?
I think that one I'm pretty safe on.
All right, well, we can all take a little breather for a couple of weeks.
At
Hopefully.
least 2.
All right, Charles.
Let's get through Thanksgiving if we
Hey,
can.
let's get through the holidays
Yes.
and we'll start all over again.
Thanks for all your hard work, Charles.
Thank you. I
Thank you, sir.
appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Not much change, another gray, cold day.
Another great cold day. We have a few snowflakes outside right now. There, yeah, it's a little more exciting for us. Overnight, we're going to be quite chilly. Temps will drop into the teens. And then as we head into tomorrow, throughout the morning, we'll stay in the teens, slowly climbing through the 20s, and that's where we stop. Temps will be in the mid-20s for afternoon highs, but notice a mostly clear sky, so that'll be a little more comfortable thing to see outside, though the sun, don't let it deceive you, is not going to help us warm up too much.
Wow, high of 26.
High of 26,
wow,
and we'll
that's
drop
right.
back into the teens overnight. We do have a little bit of a warming trend as we head towards the end of the week, but it's really not much. We'll be still below average by Wednesday and Thursday.
At this point, it's all relative, I guess.
Yeah. It is. It
Dana,
is.
thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Tomorrow on Live at 4, UW psychologist Shyla Murgain will be here. We're going to talk about how to engage in mindful eating over the holidays.
And Consumer Reports will help you find a way to fly a little more comfy in coach. That's coming up tomorrow.
In today's Final Touch, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
That's what Russian fashion designer Arthur Brazi believes. He's been creating clothes and costumes out of recyclable materials.